Extraction stations.
Hey guys, it's Madcard here. We're going to review a game from Stratego89 where he was upset about basically how the Bogue and US and CVs performed against his Zuiho, or Zuiho, however you say that. So right off the bat, I'm going to critique him a little bit. No planes launching. You're set to launch, not queued to launch. You see the enemy already has his planes in the air. When you come into a game, actually he probably loaded late, which is probably why he didn't have stuff queued, but like literally as soon as you get in, guys, you want to have your planes queued to go in the air. So you see none of his torpedo bombers are taken off, his dive bomber squadron isn't taken off, so he's just wasting time there. That was a nice attempt at a strafe. You know, not everyone's great at it. I'm not gonna criticize him for trying. But at that point, you almost want to drag those fighters over his carrier and make them fight with his combined anti-aircraft guns and as well as his airplanes. That would probably win him a battle against one of those squadrons. I don't know about both. He's probably still going to die. So probably a situation where he wants to run away instead of sitting there and taking that battle. So as you can see here again, he makes another mistake. He takes off his squadrons, and immediately, as soon as he realizes fighters are in the area, he goes back and he lands the squadrons. He would have been much better off to drag these squadrons over one of his battleships and making the enemy carrier's fighters fight his rear gunners and his bombers. During the forum post, he was also complaining about the fact that he couldn't shoot down fighters, especially being so close to the other carrier, but he's really not that close to the other carrier. Anti-aircraft guns at this level for these carriers are really kind of pathetic, especially for the Langley. They have really bad range, and the Langley is a tier below him. So they basically need to be on top of each other to appreciate like overlapping fire in any significant manner. And really, you see, like, this is an opportunity to get his planes up in the air again. Maybe go down the G line, around G4 where those destroyers are, get some hits, just not doing anything.
Concentrate fire on the designated target.
Like, yeah, his planes are safe on the carrier, but you're not contributing anything to the game with the planes on the carrier, and they can run away from these fighters for quite a while. And, you know, just they're no help to anybody on the carrier at all, not to him and not to his team. It's a bad move. I mean, this Langley, you know, I would say he hasn't done a terrible job. I mean, he at least is getting his planes out. You know, probably taking off the torpedo bombers right there wasn't the best move with the planes nearby. He probably should have drug his torpedo bombers over his Langley and, you know, let the Langley do the work and let the torpedo bomber gunners do the work. So probably a bad move, but, you know, he's also at least somewhat contributing to his team here, or at least trying to. He should really take those torpedo bombers right, like directly over his carrier there. And now you see another thing that Stratego runs into. He's just now taking off his fighters in response to these dive bombers, so they're gonna hit him. And also, he had a big advantage against those fighters, those American fighters. Pound for pound, the IGM fighters are generally better. So if you can get the even advantage, 4-on-4, or numbers advantage like 4 versus 3 like he had there, he would win that matchup. So he should have taken off those fighters earlier, dealt with the Bogue's remaining fighters in that squadron, and he would have won that matchup. And then he could have disrupted that bomber attack, and then even strafed those bombers and got him, you know, 9 kills on airplanes in a really short manner.
Torpedoes astern. Maintaining present course.
And now, because he doesn't have any bombers in the air, they didn't spot the Mikaze, so now he has that to deal with. And he does a decent job trying to get a drop here, by the way. Like this drop from the from the torpedo bombers was pretty good. Uh,
Torpedoes to port.
Not really sure if there's anything else he could have done with the second set there. Maybe dropping them from a different angle would have been better. Like if he had dropped them from the front, so he had to turn into to one side of the torpedoes or eat the other ones. And then the bombers. I mean, he's a Japanese ship. He's just not going to, not generally going to get a lot of hits on destroyers with those dive bombers. They just don't have a very big circle, or very many bombs to fit in that circle. And there he goes. He's blown up. So really, he only had one attack on a ship the entire game, and that was Mikaze at the end, right before he died. So I don't really understand his point about the Bogue being overpowered. I just think that he needs to go back to basics and get in some CV matches and co-op, get used to this new ship, and go from there. Because I mean, I've got a Langley match I can show you guys where I have my one fighter squadron and my one torpedo bomber squadron, and I had 80,000 damage last night. So and a lot of that came from getting comfortable with the Bogue in co-op after just hating playing and getting matched up in some of these matches where somebody else walked over me because they're better. But I got used to her, and then I was able to beat, I would say, somebody maybe a little bit better than me last night, or even at least even with me.